Board Review of RAD Operating Budgets.
Welcome to the Public Housing Repositioning Post-Closing How-To video series. The goal of this video series is to help explain and discuss common issues that occur post-closing after repositioning public housing assets to voucher assistance. Each video provides quick guidance to public housing agencies, PHAs, that are new to or unfamiliar with rental assistance demonstration, RAD, and/or project-based voucher, PBV, program requirements. The videos will help PHAs better understand their asset management and reporting responsibilities post-repositioning. The videos provide information to PHAs that have converted their assistance from public housing to voucher assistance as part of repositioning. This video will outline key responsibilities of the PHA Board in the year-end review of the operating budget, specifically for PBV provisions under RAD. Requirements for board review in the RAD notice. First, let's start with what the requirements are for a PHA board. The key information can be found in the RAD notice in the section called PHA Board Review of Operating Budget. The two important requirements are: the owner must submit the operating budget for the covered project to the administering PHA's board annually. The PHA's board must confirm that the project owner is making deposits into the Reserve for Replacement account in accordance with the RAD Conversion Commitment, RCC, as well as assess the financial health of the covered project. These requirements are applicable to all PBV RAD conversions. It is the responsibility of the PHA and RAD property owner to make sure this requirement is met every year. How does a PHA board verify deposits into RAD replacement reserves? The RAD Conversion Commitment, or RCC, specifies a minimum amount that must be deposited into a project's replacement reserve every year. HUD encourages RAD property owners to increase this amount in order to keep up with inflation. RAD property owners must be making these deposits into an interest-bearing account to aid in funding extraordinary maintenance. The RAD property owners must supply the PHA board an operating budget showing that these deposits are being made as required. How does a PHA board verify the financial health of a covered project? There is no one specific measure of financial health, so a PHA board should use its best judgment and experience to make this assessment. There is no need to be a RAD PBV program expert in making these assessments. Some questions to consider are: is the property generating cash flow? HUD expects RAD projects to generate enough income to meet operating expenses, fund replacement reserves, pay debt service on any first mortgage financing, and have some amount of funds remaining. The PHA should review year-to-date comparisons with the previous fiscal year to help identify any trends that may negatively impact cash flow. A PHA board could verify this by reviewing the operating budget. Is the property maintaining high occupancy? High vacancy, anything over 5%, could be a sign of financial distress. A PHA board could check occupancy by reviewing the vacancy rate in the operating budget. Does the property look nice? There is an expectation that RAD properties will maintain a level of curb appeal so they remain an asset to the community. If the property is showing signs of physical distress, it could be a sign of financial distress. The PHA should review year-to-date comparisons with the previous fiscal year to help identify any trends that may negatively impact cash flow. What if a RAD property owner is not forthcoming with information or the PHA board sees problems? It is a RAD property owner's responsibility to provide the operating budget with enough detail from prior year expenditures and occupancy for the PHA board to complete this review. If a RAD property owner is not forthcoming with this information, the PHA board should notify their local HUD field office or email rad.pbv.requests@hud.gov. If the PHA board has concerns that the reserve for replacement requirements are not being met, or the property is showing signs of poor financial health, they should contact their local HUD field office or email rad.pbv.requests@hud.gov. Why is it important that a PHA board completes this review every year? The primary requirement of a RAD conversion is that physical affordable housing units will be preserved in local communities for future generations. PHA boards represent their local communities and have a shared interest with HUD in making sure these units remain available. The reserve for replacement is necessary to address the capital needs of the building over time. The board can review the projected reserve for replacement schedule for the upcoming fiscal year to understand what capital items will be addressed. At some point, a roof will fail or a boiler will need to be replaced. That is why the reserve for replacement exists. Furthermore, the financial health assessment is important to identify warning signs before they become a problem. It is much easier for HUD to offer assistance to properties that are showing signs of financial distress before it becomes a real problem. If you want more assistance on this topic, please feel free to contact your local HUD field office or email rad.pbv.requests@hud.gov.